Hello, Level Cast learners. Welcome to your daily dose of international news. Let's get started with today's top stories from around the world. News 1 of 14. First up, a health alert. The cruise ship MV Hondius has arrived in the Canary Islands after an outbreak of hantavirus. This virus has already caused 3 deaths. Passengers from the ship are now in special isolation places. Some have tested positive for the virus, and one French woman is in a very serious condition. Doctors first thought she had something else, which made her situation worse. This event highlights the challenges of managing health issues on international travel. News 2 of 14. Next, a security concern in Greece. Officials are investigating after a drone, which was packed with explosives, landed in their waters. The device has been detonated, meaning it was safely exploded. The Greek minister has spoken about the country's readiness to deal with new threats like this. It's thought the drone might have come from Ukraine, adding to the mystery and the need for careful investigation. News 3 of 14. Moving to international diplomacy, there are big questions surrounding the upcoming meeting between President Trump and President Xi in China. The agenda for this important discussion includes topics like Taiwan, taxes on imported goods, tariffs, and the Strait of Hormuz. One key point is whether the U.S. president will need to ask for help from China to end his country's conflict with Iran. This meeting could have a major impact on global politics and trade. News 4 of 14. In Somalia, the poorest people are facing tough times because their money, the shilling, is becoming worthless. Banknotes are so old and damaged that even buses won't accept them as payment. This problem is made worse by the country's economy increasingly using US dollars and mobile phone payments. As a result, the price of basic necessities is going up, making life very difficult for many families. News 5 of 14. A new study from the University of Toronto shows an interesting trend. Researchers have found a 42% drop in the number of Canadians visiting major U.S. cities. This decline has happened during what is being called the second Trump administration. The data suggests that Canadians are choosing to avoid U.S. urban areas during this period, which could have an impact on tourism and cross-border relations. News 6 of 14. A former leader from the Caribbean is speaking out about an important issue. He says that the topic of reparations for slavery in the UK must be a top priority at the upcoming Commonwealth Summit. Reparations mean making amends for past wrongs, often through financial compensation. The former Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines believes this issue should be front and center when leaders meet in November. News 7 of 14. In Canada, a truly terrifying situation has raised concerns about the fairness of elections in Alberta. There has been a data breach, meaning private information about voters was accessed without permission. This news has overshadowed discussions about groups wanting to separate from Canada. The worry is that a group linked to separatism gained access to the list of people who can vote, which could affect the integrity of future elections. News 8 of 14. European Union officials believe that Russian President Putin is in a weaker position than ever before, as the war in Ukraine approaches its end. The EU's foreign policy chief stated that recent comments from Putin suggest the conflict might be concluding. However, there are questions about whether former German Chancellor Gerhard Schröder is a suitable person to help make peace, despite Putin suggesting him for the role. News 9 of 14. In Mexico, violence from drug gangs is forcing indigenous families to leave their homes. Attacks and disappearances in the state of Guerrero have made about 1,000 households flee. A human rights group has warned of deep collusion, meaning a secret agreement and cooperation between criminals and government officials. This situation highlights serious concerns about safety and justice in the region. News 10 of 14. New videos, maps, and charts show the destruction caused by Israel's military actions in southern Lebanon. More than 1.2 million people have been forced to leave their homes because of bombings, orders to evacuate, and the destruction of buildings. In related news, Israeli soldiers were jailed for damaging a statue of the Virgin Mary, an act considered disrespectful by many. News 11 of 14. Poland expects the United States to send back a former minister who left Hungary. This ex-minister, Zbigniew Ziobro, is wanted in Warsaw on criminal charges. Reports suggest that President Trump was involved in helping him get a visa. This situation creates a complex international legal and political challenge between the countries involved. News 12 of 14. A letter from Andrew Wallace in the UK highlights a serious problem. Britain is not doing enough to protect victims of modern slavery. He writes that more political will and financial investment are needed to deal with the record number of people being exploited. Modern slavery involves forcing people to work or be controlled against their will, and it remains a significant issue. News 13 of 14. The European Union has announced sanctions against Israeli settlers who have committed violent acts. Sanctions are official orders to stop trade or financial dealings as a punishment. The EU has finally broken its long disagreement on this issue. However, the measures taken do not include full-scale trade sanctions, which would have a bigger economic impact. News 14 of 14. Finally, the EU is preparing to offer an important concession to the UK in a new agricultural deal after Brexit. A concession is something that is given or allowed to end a disagreement. Sources say that Britain is expected to be allowed to keep its ban on exporting live animals. This would be a positive development for UK leader Keir Starmer, showing progress in post-Brexit negotiations. That's all for today on Levelcast News. Keep practicing your English, and we'll see you next time.